What's going on? How's everybody doing this week? I hope everybody's well. It's the day after Memorial Day weekend, so that means that officially summer has begun. And here in the Pacific Northwest, we're getting a great deal of good weather. And ironically, today it started off raining. So nonetheless, we're back in the building today to discuss triggers and automations. And we're going to be coming from a point of understanding what needs to happen next. They say that the fortune is in the follow-up, and we're all about how to handle that follow-up in a way that's going to generate you money, that's going to generate income, it's going to change your life. It's nothing like having somebody come to you with an offer. They're ready to take advantage of an offer, and then you don't have all the trigger points in place for you to help move them from curiosity into being a raving fan. And we're going to go into that today in some detail and talk about some of the most common some of the most common features, or some of the most common triggers, sorry. And we're going to talk about UTM parameters and how they work as triggers within the traffic link app. We're also going to be talking about other triggers, such as like trigger links that when they're clicked, they set off certain automations to do certain things. Also how to track people and how to see how available they've been, things of that nature. And these are topics that we've covered in the past, but like they say, what they say is that if it's nice, say it twice, right? If it's nice, play it twice. So we're going to go into some of the things that we talked about before, but we're going to uncover some of the things you may not know of. And sometimes an action is actually an inaction. In other words, if nobody takes action, that's an actual trigger that should spark another action. So we're going to look at that as well. Then we're going to look at reporting and how this all ties into reporting and success metrics. So we're going to break down these three things. All right. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into it. So first and foremost, what are triggers? Triggers are basically things that are indicators, or like tripwires. Imagine like if you were walking down the road and you step on a thing, and then all of a sudden that thing causes another thing to kind of a chain reaction. So a trigger is like the beginning of that chain reaction. And there's multiple different ways in which you can engage somebody with a trigger. And there's multiple different trigger points that can happen. And sometimes you might want to look at multiple different trigger points to see if it's time to be able to take action, right? So for instance, if somebody is, say, for instance, somebody watched enough of your videos, if somebody opened up enough of your emails, if somebody engaged with you on social media, then it's now time to go ahead and engage them in an offer. All right, hey, I noticed that you watched A, B, C, and D, and I'd like to know if you would like to take advantage of our accelerated course. Or I'd like to know if you'd be interested in sitting down at a one-on-one consulting session to go over some options that help you get further down the road. So those are all what trigger points are, okay? They can happen in multiple different ways, like I said, and I want to talk about some of the most common ones now. So I think we might as well just go ahead and jump into the traffic link app and then show you what's going on. So without any further ado, let me get that queued up for you guys. So let me show you what this is looking like. So we're going to jump over here into the traffic link app, and then we're going to start looking around at what's happening here. Okay. One of the things that I like to do is keep score on where people are at. And there's a number of different ways that you can keep score on certain folks, okay? And we're going to be talking about triggers and automations all strictly today. So when we go into settings, we can go into this thing that's called manage scoring. And this is the one I feel like not a lot of people give a lot of credit to. But if you have people that are engaging with you, you want to be able to manage how they're engaging, and kind of monitor how they're engaging with you. So if an email is open, you're going to add a point. If an appointment status is confirmed, you're going to add a point. If a contact reply and contact tag has a contact tag or whatever, then you're going to add a point. if a contact booked an appointment in the calendar for on their consultations, then they're going to add a point. Now, there are also other things like if a payment is received, then you add a point. You know, if a trigger link is clicked, if there's a contact booked appointment, if there's an appointment, it's all these different things that you can have, right? Right. Email events, contact changed. Like for instance, if a contact changed to a custom field, say you have a custom field of the quiz results has changed to, and then you can say it's changed to the 100, right? Then you can add 5 points, right? And if that happens, then you can know. And so then you get like contact on the contact record. If you go in here and you look, you can see that. Let's go to contacts. On the contact record, I don't know if there's anybody in these contacts that would actually have a score, but on the contact record, you would see that there's going to be a score. Well, they should all have a score of 0 now. Now let's go into conversations. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think any of the contacts that are in here are going to have a score yet. But when you, because these are all just dummy accounts, so let's see if I can actually force a contact record to have a score. Let's see. I'll just show you guys a contact score from another sub account. So just a second while I get that queued up. Switch back to me. Let me get that queued up. I'll drop into my agency, or the traffic link, I should say. And let's go to a contact. So yeah, so in here, let's see if I can get rid of real stuff. Let's see if I can get rid of real stuff. All right, so we'll just show you this right here. So next to, if you have actual contact information, you'll see that it's located here in the top in this little manila area right next to contact information. And this is a real contact. So you can see that there's a contact score of 6. That means that based on the configuration I have set up, then you can see that there's going to be a score of 6. And if it hits a certain number, then I have certain automations that kick off. And then those certain automations then will set off will then send out certain communications, text message, email, or even a phone call. And I just wanted to say that too. That's something that's really been on my mind, is that there's really only a certain number of communication channels that people are dealing with. Primarily, it's going to be email, and then next is going to be your phone calls, and then text messages. So, and then that might flip-flop for you depending on your business model. Some people might have more phone calls they deal with in a day. I just happen to have more emails that I deal with in a day. Nonetheless, you can be able to jump into and set up certain automations based on whatever works best in your business. So most of y'all with practices is going to be phone calls and text messages, right? So if you're sending out text messages for confirmation, they hit yes, then we give them a score. Now we're going to talk about what that looks like from an automation perspective. Now this may not be a long office hours today, but I feel like it's going to be important. If it goes the distance, then it goes the distance. If not, no big deal. All right, so let me go ahead and get back to our infamous sample. This demo account, And the thing about it is that you can't. It looks like you cannot actually manually add a score to somebody's account. Like in other words, you can't just apply a 6. They have to earn it, right? And I kind of like that because it takes the ability for you to manipulate it and kind of bump certain people up based on different factors. But they actually have to do the work to get the score, to get the automation. So, or get the resulting, whatever the result of that score is going to be. So we're going to jump in here. We're going to show you what this looks like to create an automation based on the score. So we're going to go and create a workflow. We're going to start from scratch. And again, we're talking about triggers and automations. And this is where you do that. So you can jump in here. You can add a trigger. I believe you can go in here. You can go to engagement score, contact engagement score. You can say engagement score. So you can make this, you can set your engagement scores to go out to, so you can say that this is going to be highly engaged. And you might say that if somebody's highly engaged, the score is going to be is greater to or equal, greater than or equal to 10. So, or say like in that one case, I gave an engagement score, what was it, 100? I forget what it was. But say the engagement score is 100, right? And say that they had the engagement score of 100, you can go and do something like, you can add a tag to them, and you can say something to the fact of highly and so they can get a tag of highly engaged. But let me just stay within my zone and within my bag and say that you need to update your contact records and make sure that, update your system and make sure that the contact record is demonstrating what just transpired. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. Okay. All right, hit save here and go back over here. We're going to click here and we're going to go to notes. Always add notes to the contact record. So we're going to put in WF, stands for workflow, and we're going to say workflow. H for me stands for a helper, right? H2002. So that I put workflow number. And that's what I'm going to call this automation. And I believe I can go in here. Can I put in score? Nope, can't. Engagement score update. And I might even put in here like now. I don't know what I would put in here. Anyway, you can use contact information to put in here. You can also put in trigger links and have the trigger links do different things. But I'm just going to say engagement score update. You can make that and see, I did it again. You need to make sure that the steps in the automation should tell a story. The trigger was somebody that is highly engaged, and I'm going to say update or internal system node. Or just say system node. Right. Right. So the update system notes, and then going to say that highly like engagement score update. Then we're going to add a tag. Oh, and one other thing that's always a good practice we should never forget is add a wait state. Wait. Wait 30 seconds. 30 seconds in the Traffic Link app is zero point 0.5 minutes. If you in, it's on 100 basis thing, whatever you call it. And you can take 60 seconds divided by 100, and then that's how you get your. Or I think that's how you calculate that. But anyway, 0.5 is 0.5 is 30 seconds. 0.1 is 6 seconds. Is what I'm trying to say. Whatever that math equals out to be, somebody help me in the comments and let me know. Let me go check and make sure y'all can hear me too. Now that we're 16 minutes in. Oh yeah, we got audio coming out. All right, cool. All right, and I might say then I'm gonna send an email. Right, and let's say, let's say you have a dentist practice, and we're gonna say dental club invitation email. Right. So say somebody, hit the score of 10, right? Or they hit the score of 100, right? And now because they hit, they're going to invite them to the exclusive dental club. And with the exclusive dental club, they get priority booking. They get they get discounts on their cleanings. Whatever the case is, right? This is going to be an invitation that does that. And you can say it's from Dr. Chan from Family Dental. Say it's in Tacoma. All right. And we're going to say it's from the email. And I always set the email to be on the account and the email. So location.email. So that should be how you always set it up anyway. And then you're going to say, you are welcome. You are officially invited to the exclusive club. Right, and then you could say, put in the contact person's information, contact, first name, and say, first you're going to say thank you for being the most important part of Family Dental Tacoma. We want to officially invite you to this exclusive you'll receive, and you can say A, B, C. And you get to say in this, your friend, Dr. Chan, right? Okay. So, and that it can be the email that goes out, right? Exclusive Dental Club invitation email. And then you might say you want to wait. And you're going to wait until you can wait until an email event, or you might say you might want to wait 30 days or whatever the case is. Like say you want to wait a period of time, a time delay of some time. We talked about this last week. So, and we was trying to figure out, there were some triggers that I thought were there that were not there. So we're going to say we're going to wait 7 days. And make sure that we change this. 7 days. So we're going to say wait 7 days. Then we're going to go and send out another email. We're going to send out an SMS. And we're going to just say contact Xavier. Say contact. And I'm going to say first name. And we're going to say, did you receive your invite? Did you? Did you receive your invite to the exclusive dental club at Family Dental? And something like that, right? And then you might even have a link, like a HTTP. FamilyDental.co/exclusive. Right. And hit save on that, and then that automatically send out to them as well. Now you can put in like if this is what we got in a jam last week. You can go and put in if it's a condition of did they reply, or say for instance you can have another trigger. Actually, matter of fact, and see, this is where, remember we talked about modularity? Like we can create another a workflow. Basically, it's going to say, did they, they're going to give them something that monitors to see whether or not they have taken advantage of the offer, right? So, for instance, if they click on the invite, say they click on the invite, like in here, let's say you receive, like we can go in here and say to accept. Click here. And then you can set a trigger link, confirm subscription, right? Something like that. And then if they click on that trigger link, we can say, oh no, we're going to give this, we're going to name this click that. Okay. So that's the name of our workflow. Hit save. Now, we'll go into create another one. Let's go ahead and make a folder here. It's called helpers. Do I have it in here already? I doubt it. I don't. Okay. Create another folder in here called helpers. Great. Oh. And we're going to inside this other helper, we're going to have, the last one was 2002. So we're going to be H203. And we're going to say this is going to be exclusive club. Right. So then we're going to say that we have a say trigger link clicked. And I'm going to add a filter, trigger link. And I'm going to say confirm subscription. So, and we're going to confirm subscription. We're going to change that to confirm subscription. That's what subscription. Okay, and now that's going to start another. That's going to start another automation for that. So we can say if they clicked on that, then we can add a tag, right? But before that, we want to create notes. Always create your notes, and just put in here system note. And then we're going to say that we're going to make this subscription. We're going to set it to say workflow H2003 exclusive. Right. So I have it like that, and and then what we'll do here is we'll go. Now we're trying to go into the thing where we're going to sit around and we're going to wait. So and we'll do some. We can do some like configurations to where we can wait, sit around and do things like that. So we can work from it. I'll work on it from there. Let's see. What can we do right here? I would like to say that I am trying to figure this out so we can get something that's going to make sense. What do we want? Because it's always something I always think about is like, what if they don't do the thing you want them to do? That's something I always think about. If I want them to go down path A, but instead they go down path B, what do I do? Right? And that's what I'm thinking about right here. Like, what do I do? What do I do in this scenario? Okay. They were supposed to go down path A. They click the link, right? I want to check and see if they... We'll come back to that. Let's go back into the other automation. But for now, we have that, right? We have the trigger link. We gotta add a system note. We can probably even add a tag. So, and we'll put in accepted. Accepted dental club invite, right? We'll add that new tag. So we'll save that. Oh, we got to name it. Okay. So we'll save this. We'll come back to that. We're going to go back. We're going to organize our stuff for a second. Oh, that's too much going on there. Let's see here. Go back here. We're going to go down here. Where's it at? Yeah, we're going to move this to helpers. All right, and we'll go into our helpers file. Okay. And we'll go into the 2002 engagement score update. Okay. So, one of the things I said we were going to talk about today was UTM parameters. Like, say, for instance, we got to for them to accept the invitation, right? We want to know where they're accepting the invitation from. So in the SMS, we sent out a link to this right here, right? So what we can do here is on the back end of that, we can put in UTM campaign. And basically, UTMs are basically a way for the system to know where they came from, right? Now I'm going to set it to equal to SMS. And I'm going to copy the same link here, hit save, and go into email. Go and set that to here. Oh. I can go into that. I can either set it inside the trigger link, or I can go in here and get rid of everything up to the UTM parameter. And then here, I'm going to set this to equal email. Right. So basically, where did it come from? And that's going to make sense, especially if when we hit save, when we go back into reporting, we can go back here, go into reporting, and then you can go into attribution report, where everything came from, and then you can go into here. You can filter, and you can set the campaign or the UTM medium. That's what I need it to be. Instead of UTM campaign, it's use UTM_medium. So let's just go like here, clear. Let's go back into the automations, go back into the helpers, and we can set the engagement score update. And change this to medium right here. And so that it'll show up in the reporting as this, the invitation, or they accepted the invitation through email, right? And that becomes important because what if you, in the future, you want to know where you want to spend most of your time? You want to spend most of your time engaging with people in email, or you want to spend most of your time engaging with them in SMS. A dental office is probably going to be more engagement with the phone number or a phone call and with SMS, right? So we'll go back in here and we'll go into here. We'll go into, not there. You change this around to medium. Okay, and hit save. Hit save here. Again, if this is going to be real live, you click on here to press publish, you hit save. Same with the other automation inside the helpers folder. Set that to, you can click on here to go to click publish and hit save, but you can also go, there's another way you can do that. You can go here, click on publish workflow, right? And hit confirmed, and then it'll go published. Right. You can also do the same thing in reverse, draft workflow, and hit confirm, and it'll put it back in draft. Okay. So that's that. Okay. So far what we've done is that I have already established what the trigger is going to be. We established the automation and what you want the automation to be. And then we showed you how to check the reporting. One thing I want to show you is what happens if somebody doesn't take an action. And like, say if we go into, and I'll show you how to set that up. And that generally happens when you're inside emails. Say for instance, if somebody doesn't open an email, or if you send an email and they don't open it, do you want to remind them again automatically, right? And you can go in there, you can go into here, you can go, maybe they'll just open up one that's already created. The onboarding link, I think it said. Yeah, you can go into send or schedule. When you go to, you can set a schedule, or you can send now, right? And and you can click on this button right here where it says resend email to unopened. So, like I said, sometimes the trigger isn't something, isn't what people have done. It's something that they haven't done. It's an inactivity, is what I call it. I don't know if that's the right word, but if they do something that shows that they're inactive, what to do with them, right? For instance, so you can say, okay, if they didn't open the email today, you can send it at the minimum. You can send it 12 hours later. At the latest, you can send 10 days later, right? 12 hours to 10 days after the original send date. So if you send a confirmation today in email and that email is asking them to take action, like say, for instance, you're saying you have 10 days to accept, right? So for instance, if you send an invite to the exclusive dental club and they don't accept in 10 days and they have to wait another, say 3 months, you can communicate that. And it's one thing to communicate it, it's another thing to enforce it. So if you communicate it, you also want to enforce it. And this is where you would do something like that. So you can say, hey, you got 10 days. You can say you got 10 days and you want to send out another email, say, hey, or say 9 days. And you can say, what is he yelling at me for? Oh, 10 days. Say 9 days. One, you can, in the email, in the subject line, you can change the subject line from the original subject line. You can say 1 day left to accept. Like this, and then you can roll it out that way, right? And you could say that, whatever you need to say, hit save, right? And then at 9 days, they'll send an email saying, hey, you got one more day to accept the exclusive invitation, right? And then the copy of the email that you're sending out in this email campaign in this email campaign, you can set it to where it tells them you have 1 day to accept. If you don't accept, then you have to wait another 90 days to be for a new invitation to come out. And then that might be another trigger that you set up. Or that might be another automation that you set up too. Let's see how we would set that up. So let's jump back into the automations really quick. And let's set it up. All right, so we go to automations and go back into our helpers. We're going to create another workflow. Start from scratch. And let's see if we got an email event. Add a filter, email, event. Nope. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's what we want to do. We go back to so they said in this email event, if it goes opened, right? And let's say they opened the event, they opened it, and then they didn't set or they didn't click on the trigger link. So if it's not allowing me to click on it. Okay, see, I'm doing it again, jacking up. All right. So email event and workflow, event opened. Let's click out of here. Email event opened. Right, and then we can say I'm just playing around. I did not plan this in advance. I'm just playing now. There we go. Wait. Oh, they changed it around. I forgot. Trigger. And then we could set this for subscription. We can set this for a subscription. So we're going to wait for the email event for the subscription email. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. We're going to wait 7 days. 1 day. Right. I think you missed out on some fields. I don't know. I had to work that out. I don't know. Again, stumped. I got stumped myself again. Okay, so we'll come back to that. But there's more that you can do to wait. You can just sit around and wait, and you can wait for certain things to happen. H2 2003-2 inactivity. But the point of I'm showing is that the trigger could be an inactivity and what to do. And there's ways to go about doing that. We can go into greater detail on that at a later time. We can click save. So we can set all kinds of triggers, right? And triggers to start off automations. Nonetheless, we'll just jump out of that for now. Okay, so we've shown some details, shown some things, but there's things that we consider. There's sometimes you want to action on inactivity. Sometimes you want to action on activity. Sometimes you want to action on. I guess those are the really only two things that you can action on. If somebody takes an action or somebody has an inactivity, and we talked about how to set up their scores. You can measure it on scores. You can take triggers on scores. Take triggers on. Email events. There's a bunch of different and there's a bunch of different automation triggers that will get people down a certain road. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today. I need to go get me some coffee and get back to the rest of my day. And thank you guys very much for joining Office Hours this week. I hope you got something out of it. And if you have any questions, please do hit me up. Leave comments subscribe, share, whatever you need to do. But get in contact with me. You can find me on most all social medias at the traffic link, TheTrafficLink. You can find me there. The only one that's different than the rest of them is on X, and that is link_traffic. But any one of those places you can reach out to me. You can even email if you dare, if you want to, and it's Xavier at thetraffic.link, and I'll respond back to you. And until then, I will holler at you guys later. Peace. Have a good one.